Today is the 20th anniversary of the Iraq War. This was a war that everyone supported, that there was support in the House of Commons, there was support across the country. There was a march against it, but the overwhelming majority of the political nation thought that the assurances coming from the government were true, and that there was a real risk to this nation from what Saddam Hussein was doing. There was a belief that method of mass destruction existed and that those weapons could be unleashed against us. There was even a suggestion that we were at a 45-minute risk. That was a headline in the Evening Standard. There was, as it turned out, dodgy dossiers, bad information, fake news being produced to justify what the government wanted to do. Now, the government may have wanted to do this in good faith, but it used information that was inaccurate to put its case across. It even had to get its legal advice updated to ensure that it had the legal basis for doing it. That's not unusual. People do go back to their solicitors, but it's worth bearing in mind that the second most senior legal advisor to the government at that time was the then Solicitor General, Harriet Harman, who now, lo and behold, presides over the Privileges Committee, which is looking into something completely different. Not a war that costs UK lives, American lives, and hundreds of thousands of Iraqi lives, a war on a very large scale that was based on information that wasn't actually factual in the end, turned out to be wrong. And that led to no charges against a Prime Minister, no Privileges Committee against a Prime Minister. But Boris Johnson, who has been found guilty by the Metropolitan Police of eating a slice of cake, actually the cake wasn't eaten, but being in the presence of a slice of cake, that serious offence of seeing a cake and not eating it during lockdown, has been called in front of the Privileges Committee and will be there on Wednesday. So far, the Privileges Committee, led, as I've already said, by Harriet Harman, who's already tweeted her view of Mr. Johnson. She did this before she took over as chairman, has published its side of the story. It's taken evidence. It's inevitably drawn on Sue Gray's report. Sue Gray, now gone off to join, or heading off to join the Labour Party as Chief of Staff to the Leader of the Opposition. But it hasn't published Boris Johnson's evidence. He's given this evidence. It's in the committee's hands to publish it. It has, so I hear, lots of information in it about what people thought at the time, which is what matters, because ministers talk to Parliament in good faith. They say what they know at the time and what they are briefed about. And I was Leader of the House of Commons at the time. I had to answer questions every week on business questions, and I was told firmly by officials that, quote, the rules were followed at all times, unquote. So other ministers were also being briefed that the rules were being followed. And this evidence, that as yet, hasn't been published. It's in the hands of the committee to publish it. This seems to me to be completely disproportionate when a much bigger mistake never led to equivalent parliamentary action. And I'm not calling for the impeachment of Tony Blair. I happen to think that would be a grave mistake. But I am worried about the Americanization of our political system. That in America, as soon as a politician upsets any interest group, there is legal action, there are impeachments. Impeachments have become more and more common, which assumes people don't act in good faith and undermines trust, poisons the well of politics. Because the truth is, most politicians of either persuasion act in good faith, even if they then make mistakes. And this is not a legal question, it is a political question. And the Privileges Committee is not even a proper legal setup. It has a gossamer of constitutional propriety thrown over it, but it is in fact a political committee against Boris Johnson, who had a mandate. And why is his mandate challenged? Why has it been successfully challenged? Well, of course, it's by the haters of Brexit. The haters of Brexit who never accepted the election result that he achieved and what he did to take this country out of the European Union. So we've got Tupperware versus warfare. Tupperware, parliamentary inquiry, warfare, nothing happens. Which is the bigger crime?